Hi guys, bienvenidos a Todo en Vida podcast. I am on episode 15. I have two of my special guests today. We have Jackie. She is the owner of Body X Studios. And then we also have Iseen. She is the owner of BXBR. She's a lash artist. And Jackie's actually a hairstylist / entrepreneur. She owns her studios, like I said. But I just wanted to get them on the podcast once I seen that we were sharing the same producer. You know, our producer is very, I don't want to say selective with who he works with, but he definitely goes based off of whoever just has the purest and best of intentions with the work that he's going to end up putting out there, you know? So as soon as I seen that we were sharing producers, I was like, I definitely got to get them on. I know you guys probably know a little bit about me, but before they introduce themselves, I am Self-Care by Ash. My name's Ashley. I'm a wax specialist here in Ontario. I've been in the industry about 3 years, so I kind of just wanted to pick at their brains a little bit. They've been in the industry much longer, so we'll just start off with that, you know, kind of how you guys started off in the industry and how long you guys have in the industry. So Iseen, you can go first.
Hi, my name is Iseen, and I am an entrepreneur in the beauty industry. I own BXBR, which used to be BXBR Studios, but now I'm back to being an independent contractor myself. And I've been in the industry for about 6 years. What else?
Okay, so you started about 6 years ago. And then Jackie, how long have you been in the industry?
So I've been in the industry my whole life because my mom's owned beauty salons in the city of Ontario since before I was born.
Okay.
But I did graduate Cosmo School in 2009, and I did not get full into like being behind the chair and working in a salon up until I was about 25. I'm going on 33 next month. So it's been a couple years that I've been in the industry, like full on me and myself.
Okay. So something that I wanted to touch base on, because I am just so fresh in the industry, I feel like having 3 years in the industry is still fairly new. So something that I wanted to talk about is how you guys have seen the industry progress over the years. I feel like now it's more about what kind of life you live on social media, what kind of influence you can give as far as lifestyle goes versus quality of work that kind of draws people in. So just give me your guys' perspective on how it was when you guys started and how it is now.
So personally, I'm the type of person that, I mean, if you look at me right now, I'm very chill, I love my purses. I love all that good stuff. But to me, it's really not about the lifestyle that we can create with this business. It's mostly, like you said, what kind of quality of work I'm giving, and being in the industry for this long, I've seen it evolve to what it is today. And like you said, it's really all materialistic. It's about how many followers like people have, what influencer they have in their chair or laying in their bed. And if they don't have an influencer, they ain't shit. And that's not true. Unfortunately, the best ones are the ones that don't have the influencers in their chair, right?
Yeah.
And it has changed a lot. And I feel like that's been such a big impact in the industry and how it's running. Because a lot of people are getting burnt out because it's like we're not getting the type of clients that we want, those loyal returning clients, because we don't have the influencers in our chairs. Yeah. And it's changed a lot. But I feel like being a business owner and entrepreneur, or being just, you know, like she said, self-contractor, we're able to control what comes into our business and what comes out of our business.
Definitely.
So it has changed a lot. And who you're surrounding yourself with is definitely how your business is going to grow as well. For sure. So my input is I hate it. I hate the luxury lifestyle that people want to portray this business, or, you know, being in the beauty industry. I honestly hate it. And if you know me and you know who I am, I don't like to be fake, I guess you can say. Like I dress chill, and that's who I am. And sometimes, you know, you have to, you know, look a little cuter than normal, but it's okay to wear jeans and a top, like, and we have Iseen. She looks bomb as hell. She's wearing heels. She's wearing her cute top, but that's her. Like we used to work in the same building, and she would always be in here looking cute. I'm like, dang girl, where are you going today? She's like, nowhere. I'm just gonna teach. I just have clients, and it's okay to be your own person and not to portray that lifestyle that everybody wants to see. And I think if you portray this lifestyle, that's the type of clientele you're going to bring into your door. And most of those clients really don't come back to you.
I was going to say, I think something that's unpopular opinion, I feel like it's a lot of people that are like, they portray themselves to be very bougie, very glamorous, very like high end. those are the clients that pay the least.
Yes.
Those are the clients that want the hookups. Those are the clients, that
don't tip you.
No, and
don't.
it's fine, with or without tip. But the point is just that they portray themselves to be one thing, and when you're in your chair, it's a whole nother. And you have to be very mindful if you want that or not in your chair, because we're service providers. It's what we put into our business. So you've been in the industry now 6 years, so you've really seen the evolution. Like, you've seen it all. The Kickstart, I feel like it started about like 2-3 years ago.
It actually, I feel like I started at the right time because it was barely starting to pick up.
Okay.
And it was right before I started, about 2019, I want to say 2018. I don't remember exactly. And I realized how quickly, and I'll tell you this, COVID helped the industry a lot because it shut down everything, right? So what were people needing to do is they needed to make money, and they were thinking about doing it at home. So I remember COVID for me was like, I had so much success during COVID. It's crazy. But what I saw is that everybody used to, because I used to teach as well. I kind of have that on pause right now. But what I saw is that everybody was trying to become a lash artist. Everybody was trying to become anything in the beauty industry, waxer,
body
sculpting. It was popping. Like, all that was. Everybody was trying to become it. And I remember my classes used to be booked. I used to have like 5 girls, and it was because they thought that if they take this course, they're going to go ahead and just make money.
Make money right away.
And I'm like, there's hustle. There's ambition. There's a certain type of character you have to have behind this. It's not for everybody. And I remember after teaching, after a while, I used to be able to tell just by their personality who was going to be able to continue and who was not.
Definitely. I think especially when you're teaching, you can definitely see who has the drive.
For sure.
But like we were talking about, over the years, it's definitely become more of a popularity contest as far as the beauty industry goes. And I think that a lot of people, like you said, in COVID, they definitely wanted to get into the industry, and they have this misconception that if I take this course, because she drives a Bentley within the first year, I'm going to drive a Bentley too. Yeah. And it's like, no. And that's why I wanted to also have you guys on the podcast, because we relate. Although we do different services, we relate in the aspect where we didn't start to see our return right away in the beauty industry. And I feel like that's something that's not spoken about as often as it should. Some people may say like, oh, well, they're just trying to be, negative, or they're just trying to project their insecurities onto us that, we're not going to be able to make it. I'm not saying you can't make it in the beauty industry. What I am telling you is the truth, because I'm not going to sit here and hype up my class. Like, take my class and you'll make 6 figures in the first year. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you how you have to keep going, and ultimately tell you that, it's like how you said, it's not all about what you just put out there or the lifestyle. It's about your work ethic. It's about, the kind of quality of service that you provide. Yeah. So that's definitely why I wanted to speak to you guys about it.
Let me tell you something. Where the glamour part of it that you see that we use as promotion, it's literally, I have to I'm selling you something. So I'm going to use what I've worked for because my career is giving me that. Right. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I don't like the nice things. I don't like driving this. I don't like having this. Right. I do. But at the same time, do you understand how many hours I worked? Do you understand how much hustle I had to put into this?
But they don't.
So they want to sit here and talk about like, oh, well, you drive this. Do you understand how long it's taken me and how many hours away from my family? How much, like, how tired? Do you know how many people I have to take a day for me to be able to drive this, or for me to be able to have this person, for me? So we are in a business where it's glamour, and it is a business where it's what's the word I'm trying to find? It's a high end business. You don't have to get waxed. You can shave. You don't have to get lashes. You can use a strip. You don't have to do your hair. You could do box dye. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You have options. We are targeting women, men, whatever, right, who want to take care of themselves and are willing to pay a provider that specializes in that, because that provider obviously is offering something that you like. Yeah. Right. So I feel like we all have long-term clients, right? And they keep coming back to us for years. Why? Not only because we built a relationship, but our quality of work and how we carry ourselves and our business. Yes. We understand we have a friendship, because you built that throughout time. But at the same time, we're running a business, and they respect that.
And at the end of the day, yes, I love my clients. I appreciate my clients, but friendship is not what pays my bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you get too involved, like we were speaking prior to the podcast, when you get too involved, you kind of start to not give your business that respect that is required, you know, because while I do appreciate my clients coming to me, respectfully, I'm still going to charge you that cancellation fee, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I really hope that anybody that's out there listening right now we're speaking of the beauty industry. I really hope whoever is listening out there can really take this as a gem, because there's a lot of false women empowerment in the beauty industry where women empower women and this and that. But ultimately, the truth is, it's like they would like to see you win in your corner, though. And definitely not better than me, you know? And
Facts.
It's like, why be like that? You know, we all have room to eat. And I think that coming up in the industry, like I said, I only have 3 years. You guys have been in the industry much longer. I think that's something that I seen right away. And I'm not going to lie, like it truly scared me. And I know that people hear my podcast and they see how like level-headed I try to be, but that almost puts me in a position to be set as an example when I have to be vulnerable and be able to say like, no, coming up in the beauty industry, I think that I got very, very exposed to what it really was, where it was a popularity contest. It was a lot of false women empowerment. So being able to have you guys on the podcast today, just ultimately thank you guys, you know, because we're able to share.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yes, of course.
No, thank you for inviting us.
Yes, of course.
I feel like that's why a lot of girls get burnt out in this industry and then they stop and then they go back to being in a cave or, you know, being in a regular job. And again, we go to regular, nothing. I love regular jobs.
They just want that responsibility off of them.
Exactly. And I feel like we go back to the whole selling a luxury, and that gets you burnt out as an entrepreneur because you want to, obviously, like you were saying, you know, that's what we're selling, luxury, right? But at the end of the day, it's not always luxury. And then you're like portraying this lifestyle on social media, and then there's something else behind closed doors. And then that's when all the backstabbing, everybody talking, you know, about so-and-so and so-and-so. Well, she posted this, but that's not really what's going on.
Right.
And I feel like that's something in the industry that a lot of people don't understand, or a lot of clients or people outside of the industry, that they see something online and they're like, oh, I want to, I want that, or I want to go with her because of that. Yeah. And I feel like we need to learn how to balance between, you know, reality and luxury and what's really going to help your business grow and what's really going to help you with your clients and building friendships in the industry.
Yeah.
So
I think it's finding your community of women and being authentic with yourself and how you want your business to be, because your business is who you are.
Yeah.
You're selling a business, but you're selling yourself.
Exactly.
So who are you, right? And what are you trying to sell? Right. Besides your quality of work.
Right.
And who do you have in your circle?
And when you guys, I'm sure at one point, you know, I think we all come into the beauty industry with amazing intentions. And for some, that remains, you know, like for us, that good intention still remains. But I wanted to ask you guys, do you feel like you lost relationships or even clientele when you had to establish?
That's a good question.
When you had to establish that boundary, do you feel like you either lost relationships, whether that's clientele, whether that's family, whether that's friends? Do you guys feel like you guys lost any of that while creating those boundaries?
Definitely. I think this year has been my year of losing people that I've grown with, that I've been able to grow my business with. And this year I finally, either they let go of me or I let go of them, either or. But I'm definitely in a place now in my life where I have the people that need to be in my circle, but it took me 5-6 years to have the circle that I want for myself. And like I was telling you, you know, off the show, you know, we want to bring everybody to the top with us, right? We want to pull, whether it's our friends, whether it's our family that have started with us, because we feel like we owe it to them. But in reality, they have a different goal. We have a different goal, and it's okay to let go of them. And they probably will not understand at the moment, because it happened to me. I had to shut down one of my businesses, and it was the hardest decision in my life to do, because I had people in there that I genuinely cared for, but it's just was not in the best interest for me, for my family, and for my businesses to keep that business open. I'm expanding. I want something else. I want general wealth. I want my business to grow without me being involved in it so much. So I had to let go of that, and I lost friendships. I lost a lot of things within that transition of my life. Oh my God, I don't even know why I want to cry now.
Because it's a sensitive subject.
It was
Jackie.
really hard. And I've always been a girl that I want to bring everybody with me. But you know what? I can't.
That's beautiful, though. Do you see
I need
that's
to
real?
let go of that. And
do you see that that's real? This is part of the business that people don't talk about. Like you said, it's glamour, right? But they don't talk about things like that. Like,
and being an owner, like, you know, I think, and I was just telling her too before you got here, I was like, I feel like me and Nicene let go of both of our businesses that we worked so hard for, you know, to have.
Those were our
business.
first babies.
Yeah. And we both let go a couple months apart, but we let go of those businesses, and it was the hardest thing to do, but I feel so free. I feel like I'm finding myself, and we going back to who you really are. Because if you look at our Instagrams prior to this year, we're different. We're two different people. And I feel like now we're living in what God has set for us and for our future.
And I think we're embracing the reality of the situation without having to portray this image, at least for me. And that's just in general, in life overall. But I feel like I forgot where I was going with this.
No, you know what? Even you speaking of that, because she was saying how she had to let go of her business, right? So you had your studios upstairs. How many lash artists did you have up there? How many?
I had
stations?
7 stations, and then I had a teaching room. It was huge.
Yeah, it was
so
huge.
Beautiful. Oh my God,
I remember seeing.
But one point I had about 8 girls in there when it was like my busiest, and having to have so many women, it was beautiful because literally this whole building it was beauty driven. We have our nail salon here, then we had Jackie's beauty studio downstairs, and then we had my upstairs. So the whole kind of network with each other, and we had similar clients. So it was a beauty studio. It was beautiful. But it showed me that having the same lash artist that I was teaching, because I had a lot of my students that came in after take over the spaces, is that we can all win.
Yeah, definitely.
We all have different clientele. I can have 5 lash artists in one room, and we're all making, and they're all independent contractors with their own client. We're all making our own, but at the same time, being in charge and trying to help everyone. I think we all kind of have the same heart here, because we were talking a little bit earlier, and I feel like we have that where we want to bring everybody with us, and we want to see everybody win. And I remember I wanted my girls to learn everything I knew. I wanted to teach them, and then I got kicked down when I was like at the worst, at the bottom. Like I was in my own studio, and it was like she said, it was hurtful because I don't want to say these are my babies, but these are women that I mentored. That I mentored, and I want you to win. I don't see competition in women. Honestly, I guess I could be a little naive sometimes, because I don't see the haters. I'm tunnel vision, and I'm here to do what I got to do, whatever people are talking or whatever. And then to have that within your own place kind of puts you in a defensive for the beauty industry.
Yeah, it definitely gets you to be burnt out. And that's where I was, speaking with you guys prior to the episode off camera, where I was telling you guys, I was like, I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out from, giving everything I have. And then what am I getting in return? So we spoke about how, Jackie, you had to, close down your shop that you've had for years. I seen you had to close down your salon as well, but after that, after that hill, after that
storm.
Hump, after that storm.
Yeah.
How do you feel now? How do you guys feel now that you guys are pouring into your cup? Because yes, while you guys had a lot of pressure, which is where, we all have our own pressures, right? But I'm still before the storm. I haven't crossed that yet. And you guys have already crossed it. So that's where I wanted to get your guys' feedback, where there's probably people out there listening, women out there that are listening, that whether they're in their 9-to-5, whether they're in their entrepreneurship, they have to start to establish those boundaries, because having these responsibilities of a salon, of being a people pleaser, of wanting to take everybody to the top, gets us burnt out. So now what does it look like for you guys, that you guys had to make those hard decisions?
I'm like free.
Yeah.
Free.
That's a beautiful word. It's free. You feel free because you're not not only you got to think about it, you're taking on the responsibility of being the business owner, right? But you're also trying to bring other people with you. So imagine that load, and then to find out that those people aren't in the same space or the same mental as you, right? It's kind of like
you see you as competition when you have like no.
You're like, wait, girl, I was trying to help you, so we can all win because there's room for all of us, right? And I feel like I learned why women don't. In this industry, beauty specifically, I feel like it's very catty. And I realized, I'll be honest, Jackie was probably one of my first women in the industry that I networked with and that I actually saw her actually like want. She would send me students. She would send me when I barely started. I didn't even know anything.
We weren't even working in the same building.
Yeah, we weren't even working in the same building. And
I didn't even know her. I would just see her page and I saw her work, her quality of work, and people would always ask, oh, do you know Lash Tech? And little did I know, she worked down the street from me. She worked like around
across the street, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was across the street, and then I found the studio, and then I moved up here, and then we kind of, you know, and I know she always wants to network and she always wants to do that. And I was very like defensive because I didn't know what I was walking into.
Yeah,
right?
that's how I am right now.
And I'm just like, I don't know who to trust, who not to trust. Even though she was one of the first ones in the industry to actually be there and actually support me. And that's women empowerment.
Yeah,
right?
truly.
Truly. And when I got my studio, I'll be honest, like you have women up here and you have women down here. So there was like miscommunication. And I feel like ever since then, I don't know, personally myself, I feel like we kind of had a little because it was your client tried to take my client's client, and it was these are our girls. These are this isn't even between us. It was our girls, right? And I feel like there's so much jealousy in the industry, and there's so much already like
take and go.
Yes,
they bring,
go. Yes,
they take. Yes, they add. They don't add.
That you lose track of who truly is about women empowerment. It truly is.
And that's something that I never wanted to be on the other end of. I never wanted to be on the other end of like encountering someone that was probably in the same position with the same hunger, with the same humble heart that I have even now, but you know, from when I first started. And then they're looking at me for advice, and I never wanted to be on the other end of like not giving that advice, you know, but I also had to approach things kind of on the fence a little bit, because at one point I was so willing and I was so open and I was so just humble, and it almost made me a little bit too humble. So that's where the burnout also tends to happen, you know, and that's where we encounter a lot of the false women empowerment, you know. But now that you guys were able to let go of, you know, your guys' shops and just start other ventures, it's not really like let go, because it's not really you guys letting go. It's you guys starting something new.
Starting something new, starting something different, fresh. And then we go back to the burnout about, you know, when you're helping somebody because you generally want to help. And I think it's not so much burnout. It's like you feel like I was trying to be like, cool, I'm trying to help you out. And then you're going to go around and say otherwise. And like you hurt it hurts. It does hurt.
People tend to glamorize success without realizing, and I think that that's why it hurts sometimes, because we want to see people at the top, but they don't have the same ambition. They genuinely don't have the same drive. And like I was telling you guys, I used to say, well, if I could do it, you could do it too. But I've came to realize that that's not exactly how it's going to be, you know? And I think after encountering the burnouts, one thing for me is like I encountered it and I'm by myself. I don't have kids, you know. I'm not head of household is what I'm trying to say. My household is just me and my dogs, you know. But you guys have children. So
but see, I'm gonna stop you right there, because you keep saying you don't have a household, you're not this girl, you're doing it. Like just because you don't have kids or you don't have a man or whatever, you have a whole ass business, you have your car, you have your house. And I feel as women, we need to learn to love on ourselves and learn, like what we're saying, like when somebody wants to love on you, you need to receive it and take it in. And it's hard. It's hard to do.
Give yourself that credibility.
Yeah, give yourself that credit. So I'm going to stop you and you still start giving yourself that credit, because you are a boss ass bitch and you're doing what you said you were going to do by yourself. Just because you don't have kids, you don't have a husband, does not mean you're not doing it right.
I think that
you're not.
It's just added roles to us. It's just added, it's added to what we already have.
But it's also, I feel, it adds responsibility, because one
But
thing
you
is
have
for me-
dogs. That's a lot of responsibility compared to babies.
They're like having.
But the thing is, though, right? It's like, okay, I could think to myself like, well, I don't care if I end up eating at 10 o'clock at night, then all right, that's fine. But you guys have school schedules.
We have more of a scheduled routine, is what you're saying. Yeah.
And I think that's what made me learn, like, hey, I need to be able to take a step back from my business because eventually I'm going to have, like you say, that added role onto me. So what advice would you guys give to people, women, specifically, because that's what we're talking about right now. That's how we can relate. What advice would you give to women who are trying to manage their career or the entrepreneurship life and haven't been able to set those boundaries, and now it's affecting how they're able to function on their day-to-day schedule with their children, their household, and their just own responsibilities?
I think having a schedule and running your life, like if you were at a 9-to-5, because people that have 9-to-5s, what do they have? They have to fucking figure it out because they can't call their job and say, I'm running late because I got to take my kid to school, right?
They have a clock out, though.
Yeah.
We entrepreneurs, that's one of the things.
But I feel like that's what we need to learn to do. We need to learn to have, and we need to learn to have our hours. And I've been noticing a lot in the industry that girls have breaks now. They have lunches. They have their start time and they have their end time, which is something we haven't been doing in the past. I agree. And I think that's something that's going to help us to grow and to not have that burnout that we feel as entrepreneurs because we're like, go, go, go. And if my client says 8, I have to be there at 8 because if not, she's going to go somewhere else. Well, baby girl, she can go somewhere else. We need to have boundaries and set a schedule.
100%.
And I think that's what's been helping personally me and kind of balance out where my life is taking me now is I'm only working Monday and Wednesday. I do one Saturday out of the month. You would never catch me doing that when I started. But again, when you start, you have to give it your all. You have to say no to a lot of things. You have to work
those extra
hours. And you'll eventually get to having that set schedule. But for me, it's a schedule. I have to have a schedule. And obviously, having help, whether it's from my parents, my in-laws, my husband, my cousin, or whoever it is. Allowing yourself to get help, because I think as an entrepreneur or
you're so independent that you're like not
I got it. I'll fucking not eat. I will drive 15 minutes, pick up my kids, drop them off, come back. And we need to learn to say yes to the help.
And something that needs to be no longer glamorized in the beauty industry is working yourself down to the core. Like, girl, first one in, last one out, been here 12 hours. I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay. We were raised though by parents that were hustlers, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like you are, I don't know, they embrace that in you, right? Where it's like, tienes que trabajar, si eres el último, then you were the strongest, hardest working one in the room. And you know what? Sometimes you don't have to be the one to work from 9 to 9. You don't have to do that.
I don't want to be the hardest worker in the room.
I don't. I want to be the smartest.
Yeah,
smartest.
Exactly.
I don't want to, you can work your ass off. But if you don't, what's the point of you working so much when you don't have the freedom to do as you please? The whole point of being an entrepreneur, I feel, is we're working not only because we love what we do, right? But we're working to have a schedule where we have that freedom. Yeah. And that's why we work so hard at the beginning to build. We're building something. It's
and
not.
You know what I noticed too, especially because we, in the beginning, we're driven by clientele, right? So if the client says, especially when you're raised with that mentality of, are you guys first generation también? Yeah. Okay. So I feel like it kind of hits different because a lot of times we're kind of raised in a little bit of like that mentality of like, pues mientras que hay, you got to go ahead and get it. If I can make that money right now, I got to go ahead and get it. And you know what I started to realize? I started to realize that I created a business to allow my life to be a little bit more convenient, right? But because I had it programmed in me I had to work so hard and not smarter, I started realizing, you need at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, I'll go ahead and I'll work that 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. But why is it that you don't want to come on Saturday at 10 o'clock? Because you as a client want to go ahead and sleep in. But I as a service provider would like to be home at a decent time to be able to cook dinner. So I started realizing I was like, I need to create that boundary because I no longer want to glamorize that I was the hardest worker in the room. I want to glamorize that I was the smartest worker in the room, you know? So
like you said, boundaries for yourself and your business.
Boundaries for yourself, because like you guys stated, you know, the kind of business that you're running is what you're gonna, it's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's a reflection.
You know, it's a reflection.
For sure. And I feel like, you know what, something that I live by is like not all money is good money. And I learned that real quick. And I already can tell off the bat if like we're gonna be a match. And I rather say no to avoid me the extra stress of the type of clientele you're gonna be than to sit here and take you just because I need the money.
I think before it was very like, it was seen as like a privilege. Like, well, I'm bringing you my money to do my hair.
Yeah.
But if I did your hair like shit, you would not be coming back.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, thank you for the money, but it's a two-way street. And I've created a business. We've created a business where we want to be able to find our community, even within our clients, you know?
And I feel like those clients that ask you for that 7, 8 p.m. are clients that are not going to come back. They're just like, they know that you're going to take that 7 or 8 p.m. appointment because they need it so bad. But when do you see them again?
And you end up becoming, at least for me, I did it for so long. I can say freely now, I became resentful. I became very resentful because it's like, why am I here at 7 o'clock? But it's like, wait, you're the owner. Why are you here at 7 o'clock? Why aren't you at home? Why don't you take that Tuesday off?
Because that's what we were
raised. We were raised to be like, pues mientras que hay, we got to go ahead and chase that money, you know? But it's something that I want to do no longer.
And we have to change it. Because my mom was an owner of beauty salons. Her salons are open, or she's the owner of the building now, not the salon. They are open Monday through Sunday, 9 to 7. She only would close 2 times a year, which was New Year's Day and Christmas Day. It was the worst thing in my life. And that's why I started creating what I created for Body X now. But I remember too, I would be there like on Saturdays, and Saturdays they close at 6. Legit, if somebody walked in at 6 p.m. for haircuts, my mom would be like, sí, te lo cortamos, pásale. And I'm like, dude, respect the time. We close at 6. She's like, no, si cliente quiere corte, ustedes tienen que cortarlo. So I'm like, no, ma'am, that's not what we want for our future. And I feel like
we're changing.
That's what exactly. And people are very butthurt about us trying to change that 9 to 7 beauty shop open time slot. Like, no, these are my time slots. And it's always like, somebody asks, like, hey, what do you have on Saturday? You're like, oh, I have a 9, a 2, and that's it. She's like, what about a 3 or a 4?
I have a 9 and a 2.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, is that what you need? And then what happens? And then we freaking come in and then we cut our time short with our family, with our friends, or whatever it is.
If there's one thing that I've learned from owning a business, is because I work with women, you know, we always say like women are just a little bit smarter than men. We kind of agarramos la onda a little bit quicker.
Somos más
más listas. One thing that I've learned from owning a business is, one, people don't read. And second of all, you can be as repetitive as you can. I could say, hey guys, I'm going on maternity leave this date. My due date is the 15th. The 15th at 1 p.m. I'm in the middle of labor and I'm getting hit up. Hey, you don't think you got a 3 p.m. for today? You know, so it's like, there's something that I'm realizing. It's like, set your boundaries. Now I've learned to leave my work phone. I have a work phone and I have a personal phone.
And that's already a good start.
I've learned when that purple phone is ringing, I know it's for business. And you know what? I'll leave it alone. And it's always it's a repetitive. We kind of see the same clients. And while I am very appreciative, I think that the way that we become a little bit less resentful to having those burden of clients is by establishing that boundary within ourselves and within our business. Because if not, we see how it overpours into our personal life, into our family life. And yes, you know, I have my household, I have my responsibilities. I will say this, I think, you know, it's different for everybody, but I see you guys, and even just through social media, the bit that I see you guys, that glimpse of like motherhood in you guys, you know, motherhood is something that I have not experienced yet, but I know that the day that I do have it, it's going to be something I hold very close to me. So I don't want to put my business before my family life, because then what's going to happen is I'm going to run on empty. And as a mother, like, you're going to run on empty for your babies too, you know?
And you know what's funny? Because I used to say, I want to be a present parent, not just a parent, right? And when I actually started my business and I started to see how it was growing, and I had like, I feel like I had very fast success. And I got caught up working 60, 70 hours, working 6-7 days out of the week. And I lost track of what I originally built the business for, which was for me to have that freedom to be with my daughters at home and to be able to take them to dance, to be able to do whatever it is that they, you know, right? Spending that time, because I was so driven and so like, I'm going to go, let's just go. What's next? What's next? What's next? And now I'm at a point in my life where my kids come before anything.
Yes.
My freedom comes before anything. So I will lose out on money. And you know what? But the thing is, like, my clients respect. It's about finding the community and the clientele that will respect you, your business, and your time. As soon as, and that's what I mean, like, nah, money is good money. As soon as you feel like a client is not, I'm sorry, but we have so many waxers in the local area. We have so many hairstylists. We have so many. I'm sorry if I don't cut it for you. I apologize. We are not a match.
Yeah, I think we always took that on because it was survival mode for us. You know, I'm sure you
100%.
were working those
100%.
60, 70 hours because you wanted to give your children stability, you know, but then you end up realizing that it's like, okay, I'm being present financially.
Yeah, but they don't know that because they're so little.
They're 100%. So little.
And I have that, not that problem, but my oldest, my oldest is 7, and that's when I started my own businesses. And now my oldest, he's closer to my husband than he is to me. And he's my baby. Like, it was me and him when I had him. We were still living at my parents'. But again, I was trying to build this business up because stability. I wanted him to be in soccer. I wanted him to be in a private school. I wanted him to have everything. But like she said, you know, you kind of lose yourself and you forget that even though they're small, they're still paying attention
to everything.
Still listening.
And they don't pay attention to, dude, my mom made $3,000 this weekend.
No, they
don't
have
pay attention to that.
Yeah.
They pay attention to, dude, my mom took me to the $7 movie night and got me a slushie.
Yeah.
She was there for my performance at dance. That's what they pay attention. That's what they remember.
Yeah.
They don't remember what you bought them, what type of shoes, what they're wearing.
Not at all.
They don't remember.
And I would pick them up. Something I would always do, and I still do, I drop them off and I pick them up. But as soon as I would pick them up, I would drop them off. And then I wouldn't get home till like 8:30, and he's already tired. He's asleep.
Yeah.
So now I'm like more. I'm a PTA mom now, girl. Like I'm like, you know what? Like,
she works at PTA.
So yeah, but it's part of growing in this business and in this industry. And I feel like you're never gonna get it right at the beginning or even towards the end. We're still learning. I think
we're always learning,
we're still growing into what we want for our business.
Right.
And it's okay, but it is hard. It is hard to have that balance. And I don't think, at least for me, I'm never gonna have a balance being an entrepreneur because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
But what I can have is control over my time with my family, with my friends, and with myself.
A lot of my
we
clients,
lose ourselves.
A lot of my clients recently have asked me, like, so what are you up to? You know, and we have honest conversations with them, you know. And lately I feel like all I've been telling them, the only update I've been giving them is balance. I've been like, I'm trying to find balance, you know. And like you said, I think in entrepreneurship, you're never going to find balance. I think for women, generally, we tend to take on most of the responsibilities within our household. Us, we have businesses, but you know, even women that are in their careers, I think that when your guys' platforms or my platforms get to take a listen to this episode, they get to see us a little bit as more human.
Yeah.
Not so much the owner of Body X, not so much, you know, the owner of BXBR, like, or not so much Self-Care by Ash. They get to humanize us a little bit more, and they get to see that women, we generally tend to have the same struggles sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, when
we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it, you know, and we can relate because we're in the beauty industry, but maybe there's a mom out there who's a nurse, or maybe there's a mom out there who is just constantly taking in that overtime because they want to be financially present for their children. And it tends to, we all have a common denominator where it tends to either burn us out, or it tends to not be able to fill our cup to where we lack in other sectors of our life.
Right.
And those sectors of our lives that we are supposed to be present in kind of we lack, and it makes our cups run super, super low. So I've been definitely blessed to be able to have this conversation with you guys, and you guys be so open and share it, you know, because we just tend to post, like you said, you know, we tend to post and sell, our services, the glamour and what our businesses have got us, but we don't get to talk about like the human part of it, the behind the scenes. You know,
we are just like you guys. We just work a lot to where we're at now. Honestly,
and they get to see like a little bit more of the behind the scenes and the struggles of what the beauty industry are, you know, and how there is a lot of like I stated earlier, like fake women empowerment, you know, but I think that it's really, really good to have your community, and even being able to, again, just have you guys on this podcast today has been a huge blessing, because I'm able to learn from you guys. And while, you know, you guys stated earlier, you guys are going to also learn from me in this episode. I think that in life, you're always...
It's always about learning.
It's a learning experience. And I think you keep going back to the word balance. And my advice to anybody out there, the only way you're going to get balance is by losing control, by letting go of that control that you want to have over your life. That's the only way you're going to get balance. You need to let go and just let it flow and not be so worried about what's next.
Yes,
and
100%.
The minute you do that, you're going to have balance, or you're going to feel like you're at balance, because you let go of that control that you want to have over your business, your life, your husband, your kids, whatever it is that you're going through. Like, let's just let go and let God.
And that's where I literally love hearing that right now, because I'm in a stage of my life where like eventually I know that phase is going to come, right? Like motherhood's going to come, the whole, you know, like husband thing and all that stuff is going to eventually come. And I think as women, we tend to want to exceed in everything. I also want to make my own money, but I want to have the house clean, because I don't want nobody to say that my house is dirty. I also want to be present for the kids. I also want to be a great mom. I also want to make sure I pack their lunch. And like how you said, sometimes we gain not even the balance, but we gain that satisfaction of knowing that we let go, let God, and everything works out exactly how it needs to, you know? So just thank you guys overall, you know. And
first, thank you for having us.
Yes, like of course.
This whole, we're all in different stages in our lives right now. And I feel like we're all learning from each other. And just,
for sure,
like you said, we're being human, honestly. Like just being on here and being vulnerable and talking about our careers, our, you know, our present, our past. And I feel like being in the industry or being on the platform, we lose sight of who we really are and what our purpose is. And something that actually has helped me, and I think I was mentioning to you earlier, I've never been the type to put my full personal life on social media. Everybody knows I have a husband because I'll post randomly, or everybody knows I have kids because I'll post randomly. But something I've learned in this industry is to not be so personal.
Keep some things to yourself.
100%.
Like,
100%.
Show as much as you want. And
well, that's the beauty of
I think you posted it too. Like, you only see what I post. You don't see
everything.
You only see, what is it? You only see what I want you to see?
Yeah.
But
that's the beauty about social media. It's like you are allowing people in, but I'm only going to give you so much, right? And I feel like what I realized is I've had a lot of people that I don't even know that I've heard just people talk about past judgment on like my past. Because I'm very open, and I'll be honest, the reason why I'm open is because I was living such a glamorous life, right? And it wasn't truly what was real. And now I'm in my like raw, real era, and I want you to. I'm not going to show you everything either,
of
right?
course.
Some things are private and they're very precious to me, but I'm going to let you in and to allow you to see that this is what I've gone through.
Because people need to see that. People 100%. Need to see vulnerability. 100%. But let me ask you, because we are service providers, and you know, I'm also very open. You know, I have my platform TikTok. I have the podcast. You guys have the podcast as well. You know, I'm like, shout out Horizon Podcast. Shout out Latinas Empoderadas. You know, but something that I wanted to ask you, I seen was, I know you're very open on social media about, you know, your encounters, your past and stuff like that. How do you deal with that balance of being a service provider where women want to have that friendship with you, where they come in like, girl, I seen what, you know, BD did and da-da-da. How do you get to a point where it's like, girl, I already showed you enough on my soul. Like, I already was open enough on social media. I don't want that to be the topic of conversation during every appointment. So how do you create that boundary? Because we are talking about boundaries on this, you
create that boundary. You literally, it's something that I'm, it depends on the relationship, honestly, because I have a different relationship with every single one of my clients. And I just think it depends on the topic, the question, and I just know how to veer it off enough for them to like understand where like this
The
is
boundaries.
exactly how as much as I'm going to give you, and this is where, and they respect that.
That's
They don't push that. So that's what I'm saying. Like you have to literally find your
The
community
right
of
clients.
clientele that will respect you enough where you don't have to be so hard on the boundary. But as a business owner, you also have to learn to be stern, and this is where that line is at, and I need you to respect that. Yes, I am providing a service for you and you're paying me your money, but I'm also human and you need to respect me.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like it depends. Every single client is different. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't treat my clients all the same. We all have a different type of
Connection.
relationship for sure. For sure.
I think you're at a point too where you're able to pick and choose your clients, right?
100%.
Like it's not, you don't
Yeah.
just take anything that comes to the door because you already got to an era in your life.
Yeah,
where
and you know
get to
what?
pick and choose.
I'll be honest. I'm restarting my business. I'm regrowing. Let me rephrase that. I am regrowing my business right now. And I am very selective as to who I am taking in. It's either by referrals or I have to feel your energy. And I'm very good at like, even through text, I can feel.
Yeah, some people would be like, how much is this? Hello?
Hi.
How are you? Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I'm not going to have you treat me just like I'm some service provider. I know the quality. I know my worth. I know the quality of work.
Be out here like texting you question marks. Like, excuse me,
you get left on red.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You get left on red.
I like I said, I only have 3 years in the beauty industry. So I feel like when I first started, I would still answer the where are you located questions. I would still answer the, I create videos of what's included in my first time client special. And I get those messages of like, hey, does the mask come included? I honestly, I think when you first start off, you feel the need to grasp every clientele because you're like, this is my opportunity to make money. And then you get to a level of where you're like, you know what? That was enough money for the day. And I remember hearing that and I'd be like, enough money for the day? There's never enough. No, don't worry. Don't worry about those $100. I'll take that on another day. I would rather not make these extra $100 and go spend $50 at the grocery store to have dinner for tonight and lunch for tomorrow, So just overall, creating those boundaries. I think that this has just been a great episode for women in general, wherever chapter they're at in their life, we have all lived different encounters, and again, like how you said, I think that's one of the biggest things I took from this episode as well. I'm sure we all took something, but how you said, creating that balance is not balance. It's learning how to let go so that things can flow how they should. But also too, learning to take that credibility that as women, we're not always used to taking the credit because we want to be so on top of everything that then we tend to lack in other areas. We tend to not allow boundaries to occur and we tend to run on empty to the point where we get burnt out. And you have to encounter that burnout, which is what I'm encountering now, to be able to set those boundaries,
Definitely.
So I think anybody that's definitely listening out there can take something from each of us today. So it's just been overall a great experience, and we all three of us, by the way, whoever's listening out there, so we have Ashley, Iseen, and Jackie. All three of us have podcasts. So Jackie has Latinas Empoderadas. Am I saying it right?
Yeah. Latinas Empoderadas.
Okay. And then we have Iseen. She has Horizon podcast. So if there's anything that when you guys are listening to this podcast, you're like, well, I really like what Iseen said, or I really like what Jackie said, or I really like what Ashley said. We all have created platforms outside of our services or outside of our businesses to simply be able to give that feedback and humanize us a little bit more to be able to give our encounters, and everything that we've been through. But other than that, though, I just honestly wanted to thank you guys. I hope anybody that's listening out there can take something from this podcast and just relate. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to be able to relate to this.
No.
We were able to cover, burnouts, boundaries, how to be selective with your time, your energy, whether that's in your business or just in your day-to-day schedule, whatever that may look like, So ultimately, thank you guys, whoever's listening out there too. Thank you guys so much for your guys' time. Make sure to go ahead and follow me on all platforms. We have Todo Mi Da Podcast. We have Self-Care by Ash. And then go ahead, give your guys' business pages a shout out too.
At BXBR __ and then at Horizon Pod.
So
All
mine's
platforms.
Body X Jackie, and then we have Body X Studios, and then we have our podcast, which is Latinas Empoderadas.
Love that.
But thank you, Ash, for having us.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think just right now, the ending right here, this is what it's about. It's about
Yes.
empowering each
Yeah.
other, shouting each other out, and giving each other our own credit.
100%.
And letting everybody know that, you know, there's this person doing that, there's this person doing that. And I feel like it's so hard for girls to give other girls credit
Yeah.
where it's due. So thank you for having us.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
Yes.
We probably have a part 2 coming through because we got a lot to talk
We
about.
have a lot to talk about. We had to cut it short.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love this episode. And just anybody that's out there listening, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Many, many blessings to you guys. And we will see you guys on episode 16 or even on either Horizon Podcast or Latinas Empoderadas. So thank you guys so much
Thank you,
and peace on out.
guys. Bye. Thanks.